Hey guys, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Today we'll be looking at a vehicle that actually belongs to my wife. It's a 2010 Nissan Rogue, and recently the airbag light started flashing. So obviously, I'll look into it. I scanned it for codes. It came up with a B1018 trouble code having to do with the occupant classification system. That's the weight sensor in the passenger seat to determine, if you have a child seat, won't deploy the airbag, or if you have a light passenger or heavy passenger. But anyways, that's the trouble code. The passenger airbag is disabled. The light's always on. So, I'm like, okay, let's determine if the problem is actually with this seat sensor, or it might be a wiring problem, connector issue, etc. So, I looked into it. Here's the wiring diagram. Airbag diagnosis sensor unit, that's the main ECU for the airbags. And here's our occupant classification system control unit. This guy lives in the passenger seat cushion, and it's a 3-wire sensor. It's actually more like a smart module. So according to the diagram, it has a power, a ground, and a communication wire that talks to this main airbag ECU. So it took a few minutes. Powers and ground checked out great. On the comm wire, I put a scope on there, and I saw a communication signal. If it's disconnected, you still see a signal coming from the main airbag ECU, and it's trying to talk to this OCS unit. When you plug it in, nothing changes. So, on my end, the diagnosis is done. It needs a new OCS. It needs this little box. However, this box is not sold separately. It is actually part of the seat assembly. And guess how much a new seat assembly costs for this vehicle? Around $2,000. So obviously, who wants to pay that out of pocket? I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. It's not an old vehicle. It's a 2010. I looked into it, did a Google search, looked at TSBs, and it turns out there is a recall for Nissan Rogue, but this one only covers the 2008 models. And I'll show you the bulletin here. So basically, this recall campaign for 07 to 09 Nissan vehicles, and you see right here it covers the 2008 Nissan Rogue, but obviously might apply to other newer models. And I know the 2014 to 17 Rogues also had issues with this OCS, so it's not really that surprising that another model year would have the same issue. So in this case, they did a voluntary recall campaign. Dealers' responsibilities to check these vehicles, and the whole procedure is described. They actually have a special tool to check this OCS, the occupant classification system. And there it is. There's the part number. It's kind of like a little magic box you plug in, and it gives you test result, okay or no good. Change part. That's it. If your red light comes on, you change the part. Easy as that, right? So it gives you descriptions, how to use it. There's a little flow chart. Now, okay, in this case, the airbag light, stays flashing. So we go here, we plug in our scanner, and we have a B1018 stored, not a 1022. Now the 1022 does get stored if you unplug the entire OCS unit, but if you plug it in, it's a 1018, and there's a slight difference in the codes. One, the 1018, which we have, is a unit fail, and the 1022 is a COM fail. But basically, it still says that the OCS unit is bad, and obviously we checked the wiring, and the wiring integrity is good. So, anyways, even if the 1022 is not stored, and it says airbag repairs other than 1022 are not covered by this bulletin campaign. You have to read the fine print. So, well, actually, under the past results, we do have a 1022 stored from unplugging it, but let's see here. So then it tells you how to check the seat. So I guess in this case, if there are no DTCs stored and the airbag light operates as it should, they still want you to check this OCS for the correct calibration, I guess. So you plug in this tool, the connector is right under the seat. It takes a few minutes and so on, and you get a red light. You replace the seat cushion. If OK LED comes on, do not replace seat cushion. And it says less than 1% will test no good. Okay. And there's a procedure how to replace your seat. Now, here we have the actual labor times. So for a Rogue with a manual seat, if the OCS inspection no good or DTC B1022 is stored, then the labor time is 1.4 hours, including everything, including checking the OCS and replacing the seat. Okay, if the inspection was good, then it's only 0.7 hours. So it's not it's not a big deal. So anyways, considering that this specific vehicle is not on that bulletin, it's not under recall, the first thing I did, I called the dealer. They said, we can't really help you. We can't. It's not under warranty. It has 173,000 miles. It's not covered under the seatbelt warranty. It's part of the powertrain for some reason. Anyways, I called Nissan corporate directly. And what they said was that I need to get a official diagnosis and estimate by an official Nissan dealer, and I'd have to pay for that out of pocket. Okay, if I just pay for the diagnosis and it gets the ball rolling, I guess that's okay. So I called the Nissan dealership. They said the diagnosis would take an hour. It's $100 an hour. Okay, fine. So here is what I got from the dealership. They had the car for a day. They performed some recall stuff that was already, was open. Reprogrammed the ECM, install some protector. I'm not really interested in that. The only reason I took it there was to get this official airbag diagnosis. So let's start reading. Here's a customer complaint, and they charge, let's see, 0.3 hours, and they said check passenger airbag, has problems in wiring, OCS in seat, cushion or control unit, would need for 2 days to do complete wiring check and diagnosis. Estimate for diag is $500 plus tax. This does not include parts and repair. So I was like, whoa, hold on. So you didn't actually, you just pulled the codes? That's all you did? And you need 5 more hours to determine if the sensor is bad? That, try to stay cool, but that was hard to do because I already did the diagnosis and it took like 10 minutes. It was definitive, 100%. And now I take it to the dealership and they say they need 5 hours to literally tear the whole car apart, tear the dash apart, check every wire, ohm it out. So I was like, all right. So, you know, they gave me a printout of the codes right there, 1018, 1022, some other one in the BCM. But basically, they said they couldn't go any further until the customer okays the diagnosis fee. And who the hell is going to pay $500 when, you know, the whole point is to get Nissan corporate to kind of foot the bill. This is a safety issue. It was under recall for another year. It's not like it was abused by the customer or anything. So I was kind of, now we're back to square one. I went to the dealer. They did not perform a diagnosis. Not a complete diagnosis anyways. So I'm going to have to call Nissan corporate. And that is where I am right now. So let's get them on the phone. Apparently the dealer already sent this to Nissan corporate. This should be in their database. And I want to know where to go next.
Have any other questions or concerns, and you would like to speak with a consumer affairs specialist, please press 7 now. For quality service, your call may be monitored or recorded. To assist us in providing the highest level of service,
So that means
it would be helpful if you have your vehicle identification
I can
number.
record their call too.
Thank you for calling Nissan. All of our agents are currently busy helping other customers. Your expected hold time is less than 2 minutes.
All right.
Thank you for calling Nissan Consumer Affairs. This is Louie. How can I help you today?
Oh, hi, Louie. My name is Ivan, and I have an open case for a 2010 Nissan Rogue having to do with airbags.
Do you have the case number, sir?
Yes, I have the case number. It is 2418-4169.
Okay. Alright, so for checking here, this is regarding ECM. Okay. For checking, it's kick panel harness connector and ECM reprogram.
Okay, so yeah, those. So I went to the dealership yesterday, and they performed the 2 recalls that were, you know, done. But I was more concerned about the airbag light. Do you see that in your records?
Okay, one moment, please. Alright. Okay, let me check. So, for checking here, you don't have a campaign or recall for the airbag, right? However, for checking here on the documentation, I can see here that the sensor on your passenger seat needs to be replaced. It will cost $2,000, right, for the whole seat?
They did not give me an exact estimate. The dealership did not. Do you know how much it would cost?
As per the documentation of the previous representative, what I have here is $2,000.
Okay, that's to replace the entire seat, right?
So you have gone to the dealership, and what did the dealership advise you with? Is it for the airbag or the seat?
Yeah. Well, it's the airbag system, and the seat sensor is the problem. But the dealership says that they need to take the vehicle for 2 days and charge me $500 just to perform a complete diagnosis on the system. And I don't want to pay that out of pocket. I think that is not reasonable at all.
Alright. So with regards to this, I will have your case escalated to a higher department of Nissan.
Okay.
That's a regional office, so they specialize is concerned. They're going to work directly with the dealership.
Okay.
Review your case, and then they will give you a call back by the end of the next business day. I will just take note here on your case that you insisted that you don't want to pay for the diagnosis fee that will cost $500.
Right.
Okay. So just one moment here.
Alright, well, I guess we're getting somewhere. Apparently they're going to escalate the case to a higher priority level, whatever that means. Regional Nissan headquarters will talk directly to the dealership, and if they need to, they'll talk directly to me. And I've documented everything so far. I have, you know, basically that campaign that shows that checking this sensor does not take 5 hours, that you don't need to tear the whole car apart. Yeah, it's no big deal. I mean, I could even go to the dealership and show them how I diagnose it. But, you know, they have to follow the flow charts. It's kind of a, you know, political thing, I guess. You can't just diagnose it with common sense procedures. But so that's it. I'll keep you updated. Stay tuned for more. See you next time. Alright guys, so the Nissan Rogue Airbag Saga continues. Nissan USA called me back. I'm going to give them a call and see what the next step is. So let's go for it. Absolutely.
Thank you. I do want to first advise the call may be recorded for training and quality purposes. And could you please verify your email and mailing address? Thank you. Well, again, my name is Courtney. I am the regional specialist over the area. And did just want to follow up regarding your 2010 Rogue.
Okay.
I understand you went to the dealership in regards to an airbag concern and then
Yes.
in regards to your seat. So I did just want to follow up and answer some of the questions you had, just to, I guess, clarify some of the information you were provided.
Okay.
I know you told the inbound agent that you would be charged $500 for the diagnosis. So is that kind of why the reason you were calling in?
Yeah. I was exactly. I was very surprised that it would take them that long to just check, you know, one sensor in the seat.
And I do understand that it's quite an excessive cost for a diagnosis, so I did reach out to the dealership myself to get further information.
Okay.
They did say they believe it's a wiring concern or an electrical concern, and yes, it could take up to 5 hours, but it may not take that long. They just wanted to tell you the maximum amount, so you could know that is a possibility, but they don't think it would take that long.
Okay.
So that would be the correct information in regards to, yes, it could be up to $500 because it can take up to 5 hours for wiring an electrical concern.
Okay. So do they not have a standard procedure on just checking the sensor itself? I don't see why it's such a broad, you know, range of time. Like, I've done some research myself, and there are, let's see, like, the 2008 Nissan Rogues were recalled for the same issue, and there's actually, you know, a recall technical service bulletin on this, and it actually walks you through the checks for that sensor and the total labor time if the sensor was bad, including replacing the seat, is 1.4 hours. So I don't see how it could possibly take 5 hours to just check this one problem.
And I do understand your concerns. Unfortunately, I would have to direct you to the dealer for those answers. I can't advise you of standard procedures when it comes to working on vehicles because I myself am not a technician.
Right, absolutely. Okay. Should I speak to the technician directly at the dealership?
If you would like to, you can speak with them, but the advisors usually still have the same information because that's who they speak with on a daily basis are the technicians.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm actually a professional technician myself, so I would prefer to talk directly to the person doing the diagnosis, not to have a, you know, a middleman or a woman, I guess, you know, in there.
And you can definitely request to speak directly to that technician. I'm not sure how they operate in that dealership. Some of them are not customer facing, some of them are. So you can definitely request to speak with that person to see if they're able to explain it to you in more detail.
Okay.
From what I'm being told, yes, they're saying it's a wiring or an electrical concern.
Okay. Now, if they do find that seat sensor to be faulty, you know, the seat cushion would have to be replaced since it's all one assembly, and that's the whole reason, you know, I'm kind of following through this case is I believe that Nissan USA, you know, it's a manufacturing defect if that is indeed the problem. Should they step up to the plate and pay for this repair, because it is a very expensive safety issue.
And I do understand in regards to us paying for the repair, since the vehicle is outside of the manufacturer warranty, we can't say that yes, it's a manufacturer defect and we will fix it. If it is a campaign or if it's still under warranty, those are the circumstances where yes, we will automatically pay for it. But since you are at about 173,000 miles, you are substantially outside of our basic warranty.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, the mileage is one thing, but it's not a drivetrain or powertrain concern. It's just, it's an airbag sensor, which should last the lifetime of the vehicle, and it's only 5 or 6 years old. So that's why I'm pursuing this.
And I do understand we do look at concerns outside of the manufacturer warranty when people call into consumer affairs, but we do have to take into consideration our warranties.
Sure,
because
sure.
they are put in place, so we can't cover it up to a certain amount. I do understand your opinion of they should never fail, but unfortunately, yes, sometimes there are malfunctions.
Yeah, okay. So what do you advise that I do in this case?
I really can't personally advise you on what to do since you do own the vehicle. If you would like to allow them to diagnose the vehicle, you're more than welcome to do so, but I do just want you to be aware of the costs associated with that. And with the vehicle being so far outside of warranty, then Nissan would not be in the position to assist with the cost.
Okay.
It would honestly be your decision if you want to stay there or if you decide to go elsewhere, but I personally wouldn't be able to advise you of what next steps to do with your personal vehicle.
Okay, so you're saying even if the dealer does confirm that the seat needs to be replaced, Nissan USA will most likely not step up and pay for any of the repairs or costs?
That is correct. Unfortunately, again, we do have to look at our warranty parameters, and you are substantially outside the warranty.
Okay, I guess I'll do what I can on my own here, because I guess it seems like going to the dealer is will kind of be spending money, which won't lead to anything. So I appreciate your time.
And you're very welcome. I do apologize. I was unable to further assist, but if you have further questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me, sir.
Okay, Courtney. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Alright, so after wasting my time with the dealer, Nissan USA, no one wanted to do anything for this 2010 Nissan Rogue in terms of the fixing the airbags, the occupant classification system, seat weight sensor. Is there another solution? That was kind of my question. So obviously my wife wants the system to work. I could just put a little piece of tape over the flashing airbag light, and the passenger airbag would remain off, but that's not really a good solution. Then my friend Keith over at Staten Island, he gave me a suggestion. There's this company called Airbag 360 that makes little kind of, you call this a module, but this would replace the seat sensor and permanently turn the passenger airbag on. See, it says status occupied. So, I looked into it, and this thing was less than $100, shipped from Ireland of all places. Took a couple of weeks to get here, but that's what it is. So what I want to do now is take some scope captures of that comm wire between the seat sensor and the main airbag ECU to see what the signal is when the sensor is broken, and then we're going to plug this thing in and we'll see what the signal is when the seat is occupied. So this will restore functionality to the passenger airbag. It'll just be activated all the time, which is, I think a much better solution than just leaving it off. And I mean, that's the way cars were before they put these seat weight sensors in there. So let's look at the scope. Let's look at the code. So we're dealing with the B1018 and the 1022 is when you unplug it. That's in the history. So right now, if we scope that signal, and the wire you want to go for is the purple wire right there. The ground's black and the power wire is red. So the signal wire is the purple. So if we run our scope right now with the key on, so I can turn the key off, turn the key on, you start getting these pulses. Okay. So that's the communication between the airbag ECU and that seat sensor. So we can stop this, we can zoom in, you can see that that's what the signature of the pulse looks like. So I guess we have medium, skinny, fat, skinny. Go to the next one. Skinny, skinny, medium, fat. Skinny, 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 medium, fat. Skinny, skinny, medium, fat. And that's 4 pulses in a group. Now if we go to another group, that should be the same. So it starts off with a medium, skinny, fat, skinny, and then it repeats 3 groups of that. Skinny, skinny, medium, fat. Skinny, skinny, medium, fat. So that's consistent. So that's our quote-unquote known bad waveform that's setting this code. So I'm going to save that, and then we're going to plug in that little box and see how it changes. So what I want to do now is to use this reference waveform feature. Let's see. So we want to duplicate. Let's see. First we want to delete everything out of the library. Yes. Delete. Yes. So we want to duplicate this guy. And then when we take the new waveform, we'll just be able to compare apples to apples right on the screen. So click that. OK. So there's our reference waveform. Now we'll start the scope, and let's unplug the key and plug in the magic box. So we're just gonna unplug this connector in here. It's a little clip, and it should just pull right out. Okay, there it goes. I don't want to disconnect my scope leads. Now the little magic box comes in here. Oh, we'll just plug it in. Wires should match right up. Let's see. Just want to make sure the wires match up here. So it goes this way. Red, white, and brown on the other side. So that's good. Clip right in. Key on. Alright, there we go. Getting pulses. Now we should probably reset the codes because our airbag light is still flashing. So let's do that. Yes. If you notice, I'm using the OTC Encore here. I'm trying to use it as much as possible to give the company some feedback. And so far it's been decent. There are a few, as any scan tool, there are a few negatives and a few positives. So let's see. Key off. Key on. Okay. And our passenger airbag light went off. So let's go back and rescan for codes. No DTCs. Airbag light is off. Okay. So let's stop the capture and see what these guys look like. Now we have a skinny, really fat, and then medium. Skinny, really fat, medium. Same thing. You want to check this guy out. It's actually dropping down to 4 volts there instead of 0. That's curious. And we have medium, skinny, fat, skinny. Huh. So that's one difference. See, the first set of pulses does not get pulled all the way to 0. And it is consistent across the board. Now here's another little trick. If you want the reference waveform to line up with the actual waveform, you can put an offset in here, and to put in the correct offset, we'll just measure, let's see, from there to there. You see our delta is 117 milliseconds. So in the offset part, I wonder if we can put in, so we want to delay the reference waveform by negative 117 milliseconds. Ha, look at that, beautiful. That's cool. And now we have both waveforms right there. And we can zoom in on a set of pulses and see what's what. Right, so it's definitely a different pattern, and on the first set of pulses you'll see the amplitude is different. Okay, I guess that's it. Easy as that. You buy the little box, you plug it in, and your light goes off, and everyone's happy. So that's the conclusion to this saga. I'm kind of relieved that it's over, and that at least we found a solution that's reasonable. So, alright guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. Little bonus footage. So, looking at these waveforms in detail, this is the first pulse in the sequence of 4, and you can see a few differences. First, in the amplitude, our reference waveform is going from battery voltage to near 0, and our known good waveform is going from battery voltage to around 4 volts. And look at how much cleaner the square waves are. They're not rounded off like like we had with the trouble code in there. And as we move on further down the line, then the actual signature changes. So just to satisfy everyone's curiosity,